Nestled in the heart of historic downtown Wilkesboro, the 1915 offers a wedding experience like no other. Once a federal courthouse and post office, the 1915 combines rich history with timeless charm. From intimate gatherings to full-day rentals, we provide the perfect backdrop for your most cherished moments. With indoor and outdoor options, bridal and groom suites, every detail is crafted just for you. Make your wedding unforgettable at the 1915, Wilkesboro's historic wedding venue, where your story begins.
Closed captions for this episode of Life in Wilkes is brought to you by Deal Insurance Agency in Wilkesboro, an award-winning, experienced, family-owned and operated agency with service and coverage that goes above and beyond expectations.
Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now and experience the unique essence of life in Wilkes.
Gerald Lankford, good to see you again.
Carl, good to see you. Really good.
Can you believe it? We've produced 5 shows already talking about the history of the poultry industry in Wilkes County, starting up at the hardware store, which wasn't a hardware store then, right?
Right.
And working our way all the way through those first chickens being processed in Wilkes and going on a train up north to the evolution of the chicken industry, the development of Holly Farms, the evolution there, and then the evolution of Tyson being there. So you were able to spend, 45 years?
Right.
45 years in the poultry industry, and during that time you became aware of everything that came before you and could probably see a lot of what's coming after you.
Well, that's true. It was quite an experience, to say the least. Good Lord placed me in a place, in time and place that was unique.
Yes.
Very unique for me to be able to see all the things that from beginning way on into where it is today.
Right. You know, one of the things that, today's all about the collectibles. We had talked about a few collectibles as we went through the first 5 episodes, which kind of we packed everything in there. But since we have amassed so many collectible items, we decided it'd be a good idea to use this show to talk about each one of those things, and I'm sure other memories are going to come out of it. But it's unique, and the idea of the collectible shows, because all the collectibles we're looking at, these are things that were in a period of time, right? So it was tied to something. Pictures are tied to something. They mean something. The people mean something. And I think it's particularly appropriate that you and I are sitting here because in a way, you're part of that. You're one of those valuable assets in the collection of telling the story about the history of poultry. Honestly, not just in Wilkes County, but in America.
Right.
So I couldn't think of anybody that would be more appropriate for us to sit with. Recently, you have been nominated to the Wilkes County Hall of Fame, and an honor that you have publicly said, well, there's so many more people that are more deserving of that. Let's give attention to them. But I think when we go through life doing certain things, and we honor other people continually, I think that does put folks in a special category.
Well, it does. It does indeed. There are lots of people that are much more deserving than me, but the good Lord placed me there for a reason, and I think I need to be a part of that, and to do what I can to further that kind of attitude about life and about history and about taking care of people and feeding people. And it's very, very, very humbling for me and very important for me also.
As we go and as we're talking about collectibles, and for you, I know it's memory lane because we're not bringing things to the table that you're not familiar with because it's all part of your past, right? And I think that makes that whole process a little more special. So why don't we get started? We're just going to pull things out of the boxes and just start talking about them because there's so many pieces to this incredible story. And it's a collection that we've gone on a search of finding things. You've brought things in. Ken Welborn brought a whole box of things in. Is there anything that he doesn't have a piece of?
He's got a piece of everything. He's got a piece of it all.
And you know, it was interesting when he brought the collection that he brought in from Holly Farms. He was very kind because he said, "Well, Carl, I've got 2 of these. You can have one to put in your collection, but these others here, I only have one, so I'd like to have those back." I said, "Well, we're going to document them, and then we can share them with everybody. Yeah. So everybody's collection gets larger that way." When we start looking at our collectibles and the memories that they invoke, and that notion that you just spoke to of honoring people who have done things and looking at our history, as a lead-in to looking at our collectibles, talk about for a moment why our history and heritage and those who have made it and still are making it, why is that so important?
Well, you know, history is just it's history, and you need to be part of that in order to learn from the past and to try to not make the same mistakes over and over and over again, like lots of times we do.
Right.
But it is important that we understand where we came from, and how we got here, and how we continue on to progress through the time that we have, and the time that our kids have, and the time that our grandchildren have, and that's important for all of them. I think that someday, 50 years from now, I'll be gone, and my grandchildren will be able to look back and see where they came from,
right,
and what is important to what was important to me, and it will be important to them.
Okay, Gerald, let's start off with that racing program that you have there, because that certainly was a big part of I guess, the Holly Farms era, right?
Absolutely. It all started with Junior. He was a chicken grower and a part-time bootlegger, and they raced cars on Saturday or Sunday when they wasn't hauling liquor, and it evolved into this enormous NASCAR organization, and we wound up. We sponsored the Holly Farms 400 for many years, and this is a program from that, and it is in 1995, and the race went on to 1996, whenever it stopped being the Holly Farms 400, and it became the Holly Farms Tyson 400, and kept on going after that.
So there was that evolutionary period of time.
Right.
So you were in Wilkes County, though. You were around when the track was first started, weren't you?
Oh yeah. We went to that track when it was dirt. Before it became paved. We went to that track, and you leave, and you'd be red all over from the dust on that track. And we seen it from the very beginning. I did as a boy, and later as an adult at Holly Farms, and it was the big important thing in Wilkes County that brought Wilkes County's name to prominence all over the country as the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
So you were at Holly Farms when that first deal, that sponsorship deal, took place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Were you involved with any of those conversations in the early days?
I really wasn't. They were conversations that happened, in the higher up rooms.
Probably on the marketing side too.
Right, on the marketing side. But I was very much involved with the day-to-day things that happened at the racetrack. When race day would come to Wilkes County, there would be a lot of drivers who would come and they wanted to see Holly Farms. Mm-hmm. They wanted to see something about how Holly Farms worked, and they wanted to take tours. And I was able to take all of those drivers, Ned Jarrett's and the Junior Johnsons and the Cale Yarborough and all those people that came and visited and was racing and was important that week to Wilkes County, and they would come and visit our plant and get to see how we done chickens and how we operated and get a better feel for how Holly Farms fit into the real history of NASCAR,
right,
and how that all went together to do a lot of things in racing, not only at North Wilkesboro, but all over the country.
So were those moments? Do you have some memories of some of the guys that came over? Some of the names. Maybe this one rings a bell, right?
This is Carl Yarborough. Carl was a driver for us. Mm-hmm. He drove for Junior. And he drove for Holly Farms, mm-hmm. And I remember distinctly one year he was racing. His birthday happened to be on that race day, mm-hmm. And I remember that I got a lady next door to where I lived to make a cake that was the exact same shape as Cale and Junior's car was in, and put the number 11 on it, and we took that down to right the middle of the racetrack at the beginning of the race, and had a big birthday party for Cale.
Oh wow!
And he enjoyed that immensely.
Was it a complete surprise to him?
It was a surprise. Yes, it was.
Right.
He didn't know he was going to do it, and he loved to be in. People like him were good about being in the limelight, and were very kind to their fans, and would take part in things like that, and make it very special.
So you were involved at a time of where, you described some very common thoughts, I would imagine, for anybody who was involved with anything on the racing side here. But they were curious. They wanted to know about how. They wanted to see how that worked. They wanted to understand about the operation and how it's now part of their story. So that's a very human thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We were able to show them a very human part, and they got acquainted with the people in the plant, mm-hmm. that done the work on the line, mm-hmm. and the people in the plant that worked on the line. They were just normal, ordinary folks,
right.
That were. Some of them were race fans, some of them were not, and they were very, very. These drivers were all very kind to us, very kind to our people in our plant, right. and took a lot of time to do the things that they felt important, mm-hmm. To them,
right.
And not just to the drivers or the owners or the people that sponsored the track or whatever.
I know they were in different job positions, both on both sides, the people that worked at Holly Farms and the drivers. But was there that sense of family?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely. It was just a big family, a big family that went all through the operation, from Fred Lovett down to the person cutting chickens on the line. All of it was just intertwined with people that had a common purpose of being a good race car driver, or being a good plant worker, or being a good owner of the company itself.
Right. So it really is quite amazing when we look at the vastness of that program. So if we think about NASCAR and sponsorships there, those are not small deals. And we think about chicken that we eat, and we think about Holly Farms and Tyson. That's not a small deal. So
Right.
both of them are very large enterprises. They represent mass numbers of people, and this coming together of everybody was pretty darn special. Now, this to me, this little visor, that was something that Ken Webern had come across and was in his collection. So I'm sure that was got your logo on there. So I would guess that was something that was a giveaway, right?
That was, but this was part of the fried chicken.
Okay.
This was fried chicken, not fresh chicken, but the fried chicken restaurants.
So this is during the Holly Farms restaurant era.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And we developed. As I mentioned back in the 70s, we done a marketing study that changed the whole look of Holly Farms.
Right.
And that's a good example for here of the red and the gold. And before that, we had a lot of green. There was a lot of green in everything we had. I don't know if I see anything right now, but anyway, Holly Farms changed that logo, changed that look from a green one to gold and red, and you'll see that in most everything that we have, especially from there.
So let's take a look at that.
That's a racing hat, and that's from the Holly Farms Tyson 400 era, which is after Tyson, after we became part of Tyson Foods.
Okay, so there was that transition period. So we have we have several hats here, Gerald. Let's so that one. I jumped ahead on that a little bit, but let's go in. We'll get the Holly Farms hats taken care of.
This was this is Holly Farms Foods, and we had a division. We had a plant that made roast chicken.
Okay.
And it was a product that we got from or heard about in England. They were roasting chicken in plants and selling those roast chickens as a cooked product.
Right.
Well, we thought that's a good idea, and we built a plant.
Presenting a delicious new reason not to cook. It's new Holly Farms oven roasted chicken. It's already cooked. Try it for the I'm late, but it's not my fault reason. Perfection. Or the I've had it with fast food reason. Yes, the best reason to serve new Holly Farms oven roasted chicken is the taste. But there's always the whoops, it's unexpected company reason. New Holly Farms oven roasted chicken. A delicious new reason not to cook.
And it was Holly Farms Foods was the name of that plant, and we roasted chicken parts, whole birds, all that, and packaged it and shipped it to supermarkets. And we had a big business of that for a good long while. But then the supermarkets, they decided they could do it better than we could in their own supermarkets.
That's when the big rotisseries came out.
Rotisserie came out.
Right.
And then we changed that product to a different product and went kind of out of that business during that time. This was in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, at least you inspired something.
That's right. That's right.
And that's it. Let's go back here to the food stores for a moment with this little collectible, which we had shared earlier, but wanted to make sure we include it here. And not only do we have this one, but we have pictures of the other ones in that series as well.
Yeah. But now this was part of the fried chicken, the Bullwinkle. He came into being with the fried chicken people, and that they used that on a lot of different items,
right,
to market the fried chicken outfit.
So that would have been at the same era.
That'd be with the same era as this is.
Right. Do you remember that era well?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We had a total of 350 fried chicken outlets from Maryland to Arkansas. And during that time when we really made things big with fried chicken, with Bullwinkle, with a lot of other things that we marketed that product, and we those employees were all employees, company employees. They were not franchised. They were company employees, and they had the same rights and the same benefits, and I was part of that personnel department that handled all of that.
So you had to hire people not just in Wilkes County, but in all those states,
right.
300 stores, so locally.
Right.
So wasn't that the era that the franchising really began to take off in America?
Right, it was.
But you didn't do that.
We didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah, we had for whatever reason, mm-hmm. Our powers to be decided to do it with our own employees, mm-hmm. and quite frankly, that just didn't work as good as it worked for Kentucky Fried or Bojangles or people like that when they franchised it.
Because you had those people in the community or in the region, and they were really focused on growing their business, which was the KFC brand, right?
That's right. That's
so
right.
Had Holly Farms done that, who knows? But it might have.
Who knows?
Do you think you would have outdone KFC?
I've always said that at the time all this was coming down, KFC was doing their thing mm-hmm. and getting big, but we was ahead of that. We had a better product. We had a better potato. We had a lot of our chicken was really, really good, and we had all the things, all the ingredients in that we could have possibly wanted to do a franchise operation worldwide, mm-hmm. and we didn't.
Yeah, things happen. Things happen. We make some decisions that work great, and some not as much. But it's part of the history, and it wasn't because Holly Farms was lacking funds. It was purely a bottom line issue.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So that makes all the sense. Why don't we talk about a few fun things now? Well, let's do this one first. That's a piece that definitely has the Holly Farms brand on it.
Yeah, sure does. Holly Farms 400.
Oh, here it is. It's it's Friday, September the 28th. I'm just not sure.
What year?
Yeah, here it is. Well, it says the expiration date is 10/10/90.
Oh.
All right, so that's that ticket. So you see that on the back side?
Yeah.
That on the back side.
That was in the 80s, right?
So that would have been a ticket that someone would have taken, and that's how they would have gotten in.
That's right. Right. Holly Farms Day. We would have a day at the racetrack that we would give all of the employees a ticket.
So is that what that is?
That's what that is. That's a ticket for employees to get into the racetrack on that day, and they normally would have some lead up kind of races and time trials,
right,
things like that for the employee to see firsthand without taking up all the other tickets and everything for the main event.
Okay, so people were able to divide it out. Was that something that the plant said, okay, everybody's got, the same block of time to be off? And
right.
So did they get paid and get to go to the show too?
They got paid and got to go to the show at the same time.
Nice. People had to have loved that.
Oh, they did. That was really, really special.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. So having that type of benefit for people in Wilkes County, because at that time, how many people worked for Holly Farms?
About 3,000.
So even then, that was a big number.
Big number. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Were there a lot of success stories with people that, I know people had different jobs, but people who worked there for, their entire career and they did okay, or they did really well?
Done really well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of those people's me.
Right.
I started out at a lower spot and worked my way up through the ranks and became, part of Holly Farms and part of Tyson and became, an intricate part of all of that.
Having that experience, Gerald, do you think that helped form the way you think about community, helped you form the way you look at the possibilities of going from, a place here to a place here with hard work, maybe a little luck, I don't know, it all kind of blends together. But it's really important to go through those steps, isn't it?
It is indeed. The steps are what's makes it fun.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's right. Okay, Gerald. Looks like you went to the Olympics.
Yeah, went to the Olympics and had a big time. I didn't go myself, but some of our people did. And at that time, we hired Mary Lou Retton, who was a Olympic star, and she, along with Dinah Shore, advertised for Holly Farms. And we had pins made and give these to employees and made everybody a part of being really, really important and to recognize a different kind of thing by recognizing the people that was in the Olympics.
Was there a sense of pride during that time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, everything was so important. We was able to spread that out over so much, not just with chicken, but lots of other things all over the world, really.
Right. So having the employees of Holly Farms being part of wearing one of those pins and knowing that the company they worked for was supporting, the idea of the Olympics, but then to have some of the Olympians to actually be part of your branding,
right,
that had to be a special thing. Did she or Dinah Shore, did they ever come to Wilkes County?
Yeah, they came to Wilkes County, toured the plants. Dinah Shore did several times. Mary Lou Retton did several times. And our people got to know them and got to know what they looked like and who they were, and were very appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Holly Farms presents Dinah's Dilemma.
Boy, Miss Shore, you sure make good chicken.
Oh, Billy, I think I'm in trouble again. Don't you see? Holly Farms cooked it, not me.
New Holly Farms ready-to-eat oven-roasted chicken, served hot or cold. It tastes like hers, but it's ours.
Billy, can you keep a secret?
Maybe.
Did it feel like family?
Family.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Family.
All right. So it looks like you wore a tie back in the day, too.
Oh, yeah. Chicken tie.
Yeah.
Chicken tie. Everybody had to have one of those.
Yeah, so that was that. And then, now another thing that a lot of companies have is a pin that signifies their number of years in employment, right? So this is just one of those. I'm sure there were many representing certain periods of time.
Right. This is...
and that's the green one, too. That's when your colors were all green.
Back when the green was there. That was back when the way the green looked. That's the way the trademark looked prior to this trademark here and prior to this trademark right here. It evolved from this to this to this.
Right. So that from the green. From the green.
From the green.
So... So we've got, well, here's a little fun thing, of course. This seemed to be very approachable, and everybody that had a key that could have one of those, and reminding them of.
Oh yeah, yeah, and this is a picture of Cocky, the rooster.
Right.
And he wound up on a lot of different things. He wound up on keychains, cards, all kinds of different places.
Do you remember when he came about? So because he wasn't there in the beginning.
Oh no, he wasn't there in the beginning. Mm-hmm. He didn't. He came in the late 70s. Okay. Whenever we done a lot of new and different things with the marketing.
Right. So speaking of new, and wait a minute, I think maybe here he was on this patch as well.
Right.
Do you remember that?
That's a Holly Farm patch.
Who would have worn that? Who would have had that on their?
Well, we all would have that.
Okay.
I mean, that was just something that we would put on our uniform. That would
so all employees would have
a lot of them. Really, everybody would have one of these.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line.
So that one was black. Were they all black or?
No, they were different colors.
Okay.
It was. They tried to match your uniform. A lot of people had a dark uniform, and a lot of people have a white uniform.
Okay.
And the white ones. Were different from this, but looked the same.
So the people of Holly Farms were fashion conscious.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Well, speaking of the serious nature of Holly Farms, I understand that there were certain types of memberships that esteemed people were able to experience, and I'll just pass that off and let you chat about that for a moment.
That's right. This is a membership in the Golden Cock Club,
right?
And this is Cock the Rooster,
right.
And he was the head of that. And people, we gave out cards and we gave out pins.
Right.
They would wear the pins on their shirt or their suit, and have the card, and they were members in full-fledged of the Holly Farms Golden Cock Club.
So
another family kind of thing.
Sure.
That reached out to lots of different people.
Did it have privileges attached to it?
No real privileges.
Right.
Just part of the family.
Other than just a sense of family pride.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing.
Powerful thing. Oh yeah.
So,
thousands of these were handed out. Our customers all wanted one. When Lanny Wiles was working for Ronald Reagan, all of their Secret Service people, they had a pin like that they put on their lapel that identified them as part of the team that worked for Ronald Reagan, and that was important to them. And we furnished cock clubs to all those people in a very special way.
So did the presidential detail get golden cocks, or were
Yeah.
they? Okay, so not just silver, but there would be something a little special with
Yeah,
those,
that's right. Golden cock.
Wow. Did President Reagan have one too?
He had one too.
Yeah. Was his a little larger?
Yeah, a little larger, right?
Oh my goodness! So we're looking at a lot of things that were made to be badges of honor, if you will, just celebrating being part of Holly Farms, part of the poultry industry, part of the entertainment industry, because racing is entertainment, right?
Right.
So you had that, the athletic side, but the big part was entertainment.
That's right.
People
That's
come
right.
to be entertained.
That's right.
So lots of things happen with that.
Yeah,
Here's a little something that's unique.
This is a Holly Farms tape measure,
Right.
and this is one of those. It has the latest
The ribbon. Right.
and this is something that we would give to all employees. All over the company, we gave this particular thing, and it was not just this, but several different items that they would have, that they would get, this year, next year, down the line, for just being a Holly Farms employee.
Right. It was just something for people to have the brand on. One of the interesting things about this particular one, that came from Ken's Welborn's collection as well, is he said, Carl, this is important because it has the box with it. So the tape measure itself was made in the USA. Right. So if you pull that out, doesn't it? The tape measure. Do you see what the tape measure said? Just pull that out there and see if you don't see it. Does it say made in the USA?
Yeah, made in the USA.
Okay, made in the USA. So that's the first thing I saw.
Right.
And then Ken said, "Did you see the box?" I said, "I saw the box, sure." He said, "Well, where do you think it was made?" So the box, which the paper inside it gives away that little secret. So this is what authenticated, because there were a lot of the rulers are floating around, but to have one perfectly boxed. So the box was printed in Japan, but the ruler was made in the USA.
Right.
Yeah. So that was, and that's the unique thing about collectibles, is there's usually a little twist to it, that makes it extra special. And this is something that would not have been something that anyone would have access to. Yeah. So that's a stamp block.
That's a stamp block. Yeah. And in Holly Farms. I'm not tremendously familiar with this. I'm not sure what all that is.
Well, that's good though.
It was made to print things with.
So your magnifying glasses there, maybe you can get an idea of what does the logo look like. Does that help you when you think it was put together, or?
Well, I can't. Well, it's the old logo.
Okay.
It's the old logo. It's the holly leaves right here.
So it would have made sense then that would have been earlier. So as time went on, you likely people would not have had this.
That's right.
Because it would have just come from the printer printed, right?
That's right.
Did Holly Farms have its own print shop?
We had its own print shop.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you really did everything in-house when it comes to your printing.
A lot of things. We didn't do everything. Somewhere there's a newspaper, and the Holly Happenings, it was done outside by an outside printer. Linda Lankford was the editor of that magazine, that newspaper. It was produced once a month, and all employee got a copy all over the company, and it told all about what was going on with employees,
right.
And other things too. But it was a good good newspaper that went out once a month, and it was done outside of our own printer.
Sure. But in-house,
But this was in-house.
Right.
Something in-house was taking care of that. And like I say, that's the old logo you can see here with the holly leaves. And
right.
that came off of all of that when we went back to this particular logo.
Right.
When we went from this to this, we went and left out all the holly leaves.
The holly leaves
and
were gone.
all the things that made it too busy.
I bet there were people that missed the holly leaves, weren't there?
Right.
Was there a little conversation in the shop?
We said, wait a minute, that's not going to work. We're Holly Farms. We got the holly leaves.
Right.
And they said, marketing folks said, no, we're going to do without the holly leaves.
And did it affect the sale of chicken?
It made it better. It increased sales.
So holly is good for Christmas, but not the rest of the year.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they told us all the time that people were not real interested in associating the plant holly with chicken. They needed to separate that.
Right.
And that made it people more appreciative of what the chicken, what it really was.
Well, I think the good thing about this show and what we're doing now is talking about those things that were in the public eye. A few things were private within the company, but everything when it comes to the memorabilia and the influence that the company was working on establishing within the community, those are the things we're sharing now.
That's right.
So there are some common threads, I suppose, between them all, between people that worked in the plant and the general public. One of these, of course, now this was a little bit later on, right?
Later on, right. We became the official chicken of NASCAR. And
do you remember that year when that happened?
I don't. I remember when it happened. I can't remember what year it was.
No, but you
Yeah.
That year when it did happen, was that exciting because you were Holly Farms as a sponsor, but to say the official chicken,
it was so big. It was so big. Absolutely, it was so big that we had been sponsoring a race car, and we was Junior worked for Junior raced for us, and his car had our name on it. But when this happened, we became the chicken of NASCAR altogether. Made a big difference.
Okay. Earlier you invoked the name of Diana Shore and talked about her involvement with Holly Farms and how it became really big. Cookbooks were part of that, right?
That's right. One of the big things that came out of the marketing study that the customer wanted. They wanted more recipes. They wanted a way to cook chicken other than putting it in a frying pan and frying it.
Right.
They wanted other all kinds of different chicken products, chicken meals, chicken with pita food, chicken with glazed thighs.
Chicken with everything.
Franks, salads and sandwiches.
Sure.
They wanted all kinds of different products or dishes that they could pick up, and we put this out at the counter, and people could take one of these and could look and make 100 different dishes.
So when you say at the counter, so this was at the grocery store?
At the grocery store.
Okay, so people were able to buy this book, and then they now know what more to do with their chicken.
Right.
So they're going to buy more chicken.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
So
that's what the consumer wanted that, and of course we wanted it too, because that gave us a much broader use of the product than just taking legs and thighs and breasts and cook them in a skillet.
Sure. So which people had done for many, many years before that. Now, so you got Dinah Shore, you've got a celebrity, now you've got an athlete, right?
That's right. Mary Lou Retton. She was a super person. I I mean, she's still she's still living. She was so kind to us and so good to.
Did you talk to her?
Oh yeah, yeah. I took her through the plant and showed her everything about the chicken. She had no clue. She thought her chicken came from a package. She had no idea that it came from a little bitty chicken that growed up into a bigger chicken that went through a process of being killed and cut up and packaged. And she was amazed. Absolutely amazed at the process itself. And of course Dinah Shore was too. Dinah Shore knew nothing about that. They came in and were involved with advertising, but they knew nothing about the history or the process that chicken went through to get from the baby chick to the dining room table.
Isn't that a fair observation of almost everyone?
Oh yeah. Yeah, everybody's like that.
The idea, I have a nice family I get my eggs from,
Yeah.
I know the pasture, I know the chickens. I met them, I know their names.
Right.
In general, most people would never have that opportunity to see that process and understand how it actually works.
I have no idea.
But it's important to do that.
Right.
It's just good knowledge.
Right.
Okay, so there you've got a couple of ladies who became part of the public face of not only Tyson, Holly Farms, but that whole idea of bringing a friendly face to a very common product, right?
Absolutely.
Now, let's do this first. So here's another book. Now, this one has the Tyson name on it, right? So we were told when we bought that was a nice collectible piece because of it being leather bound. Evidently, they weren't all leather bound, right?
No. This is a Tyson deal. It's got Don Tyson's name on it, signed on it, and I'm not real familiar with this book. I don't think I ever got one of these. This was a little bit better, but it has same way with the others. Chicken Marsala, lots of different Oriental garlic chicken. And just lots of different products.
So what happened is, so let me ask you this, if you know, so would this have come? I guess this came before this, right?
No, it came after.
So this came after.
That came after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the latest thing. That was the newest thing we've got in the form of cookbooks.
Okay.
That was purely Tyson.
Purely Tyson.
Yeah.
All right. No celebrity endorsements. This is Tyson.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to try some of these.
That's right.
We'll have to try some of those dishes.
Good product.
Now, here's something that we found that I thought was just super cool. And let's see. You remember when I first showed this to you?
I do.
You
Absolutely.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So I just thought this was the neatest thing. So this is an actual alarm clock. It's functioning, right? You. Had you ever seen this before?
I'd never seen it before. It's brand new to me, Carl.
Yeah. Well, so we know, we have a little indication. Oh, we can click it to turn back up. So, we know from the lesson we've had already that because of the logo, it was not super early, right?
No. Late in things.
Yeah. So I don't know what date on this one, but it's it's made in Japan.
Made in Japan.
Yeah. So it's an era piece there. So that's pretty cool and fun. Now this aeroplane, we had talked about that earlier, but it definitely has the this logo on it, right?
That's right. And that's the older logo.
That's right. So that helps us place this because the tail fin also has that straight and not the wavy. So we have an idea of when this was made. But this is something that you're very familiar with.
Oh yeah.
And if we look in there, there's Gerald right there, right?
and we had one jet, and we had 4 Aero Commanders, which is a turboprop plane, and we would fly. The jet would fly longer distances, but the smaller planes would go into our plants in Texas, in Virginia, in North Carolina.
You didn't have to have as long of a runway for those,
that's right?
And that's a big deal because your business was in a lot of smaller communities,
a lot of small places,
because it's rural.
Right, that's right. But the people, Elton Dickey and Robert, and the different ones were pilots of these planes, and they were part of the company, and they helped everybody get where they needed to be when they needed to be there.
Right. So I think we talked about this earlier, but it's worth just repeating now that when people think about airplanes, they say, well, that's an expensive way to travel around. But you weren't in a small business, but what you described was the efficiency, and you were able to be in more than one city in the same day if you needed to, where if you were driving, there's no way that could happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
That we used these planes the most efficient way that they could be used, and it made a big difference in they were used. They were expensive to operate, but we could get our people where they needed to be, and still do a day's work. Whereas if they had to go commercial, it would have took 2 days to do that instead of 1.
Right, and if they were driving, even longer.
More.
So it's one of those things of efficiency, and that was very important when you're dealing with a perishable item,
That's
right?
That's right.
I mean, that really is what it is, right? Because you've got an egg that turns into a chick, and then you got a chick that turns into a chicken, then you got a chicken that gets processed and then ends up on our plates.
On a plate.
And all of that happens in a very short time period. Wow. Gerald, so many things have happened since the poultry industry started in Wilkes County and where it goes now, and we're still producing how many a day? How many?
1.6 million chickens
a day.
In Wilkesboro.
Right.
Just in Wilkesboro.
That's right. The one plant that you started with.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
1.6 million.
How big was it when you first started working there? And this is just a little trivia. How many chickens were being processed then?
Well, I don't know. I got to be honest. I remember one time that we came through and they said we'd hit a record and had processed 70,000 chickens that day.
Wow.
70,000 chickens that day. And, that's a small number when you think about 1.6 million.
Right.
But at that particular
time,
that's the size it was.
Right.
And that was in the 60s or maybe late 60s.
Right. So we're talking either 58, 60 years ago, right? So
right.
that time period of when it started, it quickly ramped up, right, as the market grew, and of course now having those numbers on a daily basis, that's incredible. Well, Gerald Langford, it's been a nice collectible day. We're able to talk about some physical things. You'll never guess. Remember those plates that we found online and bought? You remember I showed them to you.
Yeah.
Did I give them to you?
I don't think so.
I can't find them. I don't know what happened. Tim, did you eat chicken or something?
That cap, that's important too.
Oh, okay. Let's
I want to show that. That's the Holly Farms Tyson Holly Farms racing cap, and that is one of the most collectible items that we all have got.
So-
And there's only a few of these that's out there still yet in existence, and this is one of. I'm sure that belongs to Kenny, and
Yeah.
Kenny has a lot of good stuff that he was so kind to let us borrow. He is Kenny Wellborn is one of the finest people that ever came along on this earth, and I do value him as a very close friend.
Yeah, well, I've been told how important these are and valuable are. So we're lucky to have one in the
right.
collection now,
That's right.
and this one is Ken's. Well, since this one had so much memory, why don't you put that on?
Okay.
Okay, let you put that on. All right. So that's really how you walked around, right?
That's how we walked around.
You were at the race, and
Race, and boy, if you had one of these caps, that meant a lot. That meant a lot.
yeah, that's a big thing. Thank you so much, Gerald, for being part of this journey. We've got another show, folks, coming up, and it's all going to be about barbecue. And before we leave, just a little teaser for what's coming up. So this is another picture, and it begins. This will take us from here, but let's just talk about this for one moment to let folks know what's coming up in the next special that we do, which is all about barbecue.
Which is all about barbecue chicken. Barbecue chicken came to Wilkes County from NC State. NC State developed it and sent it out to everybody, and we took advantage of that by being part of fundraiser operations in Wilkes County, and then Holly Farms itself got into that and spread it all over the country. And so we'll talk about that at our next go.
And who was that fella in there?
And this is Clay Bumgarner, one of the original 4 people, the original 3 people that helped get it going at Holly Farms and get it going at the Millers Creek Fire Department. He was part of the fire department, and he got that going. He was the keeper of the sauce.
The keeper of the sauce.
He was the keeper of the sauce. He
Wow.
made that. He kept that sauce to where today, after 50 years, he's dead and gone. His son is still here making that sauce. His granddaughter is the next one in line. She's going to make the sauce, and they're going to keep that going right on forever, I'm sure.
And it's a secret.
It's a secret.
The recipe's a secret.
recipe's
What
a
a
secret.
great way to end this one, going and introducing our next show. And, I didn't know that barbecue chicken was an academic endeavor.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you, Carl. And thank you, Tim.
Dinah?
Yes.
Dinah, you don't have to get in shape for this commercial.
Yeah, we're talking about less fat.
This commercial's for Holly Farms Prime Chicken with less fat. You can't buy a chicken lower in fat.
This is hard. How do the chickens do it?
They don't exercise. Holly Farms trims away the excess fat.
You think Holly Farms could do that for me?
No, but you can do the inline for me.
America's Cooking with Holly Farms?
New Prime Chicken with less fat, but the same great taste.
Sure beats exercise.
You don't need to exercise.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share the show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.
Ladies, please, let's not lose our heads. Lose our heads?